DFoshiz. Hey, you guys. My name is D, and welcome to my very first speed build. I am very happy to be here with you today. I've been wanting to do this for so long, ever since the pandemic, but my computer that I had basically just did not allow me to screen record and play The Sims simultaneously. So here I am finally in 2026. This is 2026. Maybe I've tried to forget. But that being said, I it's never too late. So I am very happy to be here and I am going to be, as you see, I am building a church inspired by Sacre-Coeur in Paris. And what I've done is convert the church into a nightclub. And I I like calling the Club Sacrilege. I think it's really funny. Because Sacre-Coeur, sacrilege, get it? Anyways, this is my very first speed build, and I've been playing The Sims since The Sims 1. And I, I am very happy with The Sims and it's the way that you can build nowadays, and it has grown so much. I was very unsure about, well, I had this idea of building a church and converting it into a club for Windenburg, and I was unsure of what church I was going to do that to, like just kind of a random church. And so I Googled Paris churches to see if I could find something. And one of the first big ones that's going to pop up is Sacre-Coeur. And I was like, there's no way you could build this in The Sims. And so I wasn't even going to, like, truly build it. I was like, you know what? I wonder if you could even put around. I barely build with round rooms. It's like, I wonder if you could build a round room on top of a box. And I saw that I could. And I was like, I wonder if you could use the windows from the Castle Estate. I think that's what it's called, the Castle Estate kit. And I could. And I was like, wait a minute, let me just start recording. And then I just started building and building, and I'm so glad I started recording because I'm one of those people in The Sims. It's like once I start, it's so hard to stop. It is very difficult for me to stop building once I have an idea in my head and I want to see through. And so, as you can see, I am this is starting. The shape of it is starting to come together. The round room is on top of the square room and not giving me too many problems at this current moment. It honestly didn't give me any problems until I started doing the roofing. The roofing was quite difficult, but I was able to eventually make it through. Um, but like I said, this is based off of the church was a basilica actually, um, of Sacre-Coeur, which is in Paris, and the church sits on top of a hill, which I think is so cool about this section of Windenburg. I am building in the new, more urban, modern part of town, I guess is the better word for it. And there is a little hill that goes up to this church, and I think it's so cute and reminds me of, yeah, the hill in Paris. And I spent a lot of time in Paris. I'm actually fairly bilingual, I like to think. Um, and I have lots of friends there. And one of my first trip, I went to look at the view because the view of Paris at Sacre-Coeur is pretty much the only view that you get of the city unless you go up the Eiffel Tower or Montparnasse. But this is the quite the easiest and also cheapest way to see see a good view of the city is at Sacré-Cœur. Um, and again, it was one of the first places that I went to go visit because I wanted to see the view of the city when I was there. I've also spent, I believe it's in the 16th arrondissement, and I spent a lot of time in the 16th. and lots of memories in that part of town. Lots of memories everywhere. And so I've been having a great time coming back into the game and building in memory of my time in France. Um, I actually lived in the fifth arrondissement, and I had a little chambre de bonne, kind of not honestly not like Emily in Paris because her chambre de bonne is very big. Mine was very small. I had a it was a very small room. Like there was like a little bed in there. I didn't even have a shower, and there's a toilet in the hallway that I shared with everyone else who lived up there, which was a very and it was in the For Rent expansion pack that we got, the, it has that toilet that you have to squat all the way down on the ground to use it. That's the restroom that it had, and it freaked me out, but I got used to it, and I was so happy to see that we got that in The Sims. And I've actually gone and built a Parisian apartment that is already on the gallery where I've paid homage to that. I did not record myself building that. That was before I realized I could, and I was just building for funsies. But then I saw the windows that we got from the royalty and legacy pack. And okay, during my time while living in Paris and living in the Chambre de Bonne, I built in Old Platz, I think that's what it's called, in Windenburg, the old part of town. I built these three like sister buildings, and my game got pretty much destroyed, and I lost him, and I was like, I swear I will never build here ever again. But I saw these windows, and I was like, I have to go back and build it. I have to go back and build in The Sims. I have to go back and rebuild those three buildings. And so I've rebuilt them. I've recorded myself building the last of the third building that I made. They're kind of Haussmannian architecture, and that's like the typical Parisian building that you will see. I've already recorded them, but it's taken me a long time to edit them. So I mean, I've just continued building, and I've also built a town hall. They call them uh, mairie, a mairie, and I've actually made it, and that's like the mayor, the town hall. Each arrondissement has like a mairie. It has a basically a town hall of that neighborhood or of that area of that arrondissement. And so I made one for this modern part of town, just as an homage to the mairies all over Paris. I don't know if I'll make one for Old Platz. I might, but I prefer just having one. And in the town hall, I've actually made it. I don't know the exact name of um, the lot type, but the one for where maybe a community center, is that it? The thing about my game is that, as you'll see, it's actually in French. I changed my game to French a very long time ago, and I could take it off, but it's just a fun way for me to keep up the language is by playing the game in French. It's just one of my. I've learned so much, so many words just by playing The Sims, in terms of, I guess, maybe architecture and just kind of passive learning of the French language. I enjoy, and also learning the interactions that are happening in the game are all in French. So it's just fun practice. Um, Not too sure. My neighbor is I. Hi guys, my name is D, and things you should know about me is that I have a dog, and so you may hear him right now. He's laying down at my feet, so I don't think he's gonna make that much noise. But I do have a neighbor who is playing music really now, loud right now, so I don't know if you'll be able to hear that. You might, and that's also okay. We're gonna get through this together. But this again is my very first speed build. Um, yeah, don't. I've made all of the sound effects that you're going to hear today. Just me speaking to my mic, trying not to get monetized, and so I've made my own sound effects. They're all it's any all the music that you hear at the end, the the intro beat. The DFoshiz. That's literally just me, and the sound effect that you hear moving into. I've made all these sound effects, for the channel, I guess. I just exploring what this might be, what I can do in The Sims. Back to the build real quick. Here I am, and as I said before, I was able to see that I was able to put a round room on a square room, and then I saw that these windows from the Castle Estate kit actually worked on this, and I was so happy about it. And you can see the shape of it coming together. Eventually, I changed one of the I don't know the towers. I changed one of the towers just so it wasn't so um, equal. There's a better word than equal, but just to make it less symmetrical. And the other thing about these things in building, if you are a builder, you know sometimes the roofing is tough. Sometimes the walls don't work the way you want to, and the freezes just like disappear, and you have to put them back, and sometimes they just stop working, and then it can be a whole ordeal. But I'm very happy that this build, especially with the round walls, um, did not give me too many issues. The only issue, and I'll let you know, just don't look too close, but the only issue is that uh, like right around the round walls, there is a gap between the roof and I guess the round wall. How many times can I say round wall in one sentence? That was one more. But there is a little space, and I think it's just a glitch in the game where you can't, where it will just kind of delete anything around it. It looks great from far away. You just don't have to get, I don't think, imagine that you need to be up that close. But if you get very close, you'll see that there is a gap. But I wasn't too worried about it because I think this build is beautiful. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I'm very proud of myself for this build. And also just tell you the idea of this. I know it seems kind of crazy to put a club in a church, especially one like Sacre-Coeur, but I I am I am an actor as well. I'm an actor based in New York City, and I did a reading of a play that one of the plot points is that these these two guys, they see an abandoned church and they turn it into a nightclub. And I was like, oh, as I was thinking about Windenburg and what how I wanted to build it and rearrange the things, I was like, you know what, maybe I'll take that idea and turn a church into a nightclub. And so I I thought I was going to do another random church, but then here we are. We're building Sacre-Coeur, and I've already built a cathedral. I actually rebuilt. It was the reason why I bought um, the Castle Estate kit was to rebuild Notre Dame, and I've done that in the old part of town. And it's a cathedral, and it could also it's in the gallery. It could also work as a wedding venue if you wanted to, but I just have it as a museum in my game, or I don't remember. Anyways, it might just be a museum. Um, and so for this one, I was like, I don't need another church. Also, just let me know. I I want to know if you I could also make a version of this that is a chapel wedding venue. I mean, it is a pretty build. And so I can definitely see if I can, make it just a normal church, a normal church that you can make a museum or a wedding venue. Yeah, let me know. Or I don't know if I want to make it a funeral home, or like not a funeral home, but like a place where you do funerals. But it's also possible. Let me know in the comments if you would also like a version of this where I go in and make just a normal wedding venue or a church. Um, but yeah, one thing about me is that I have this like tick. As you can see, I mean, moving the video camera in the game is very difficult, especially when building. And I also have a tick where I just have to look around before I know what I want to do next. I deleted as much as I could off of it, but there's still some that will persist. So just know that that's the journey that I'm on, and that's my creative process. Um, so Yeah, I've personally been playing The Sims since The Sims 1. I've been playing for a very long time. I've played The Sims 2, Sims 3. And the more I look at people playing, I've of course followed Little Simsy. I one of my favorite builders is Jessica Pie, and also Simlissy. I love those two builders. Um, I also watch builds by Freezer Bunny, and actually, Freezer Bunny helped inspired my Parisian corner apartment build. I remember watching his video a long time ago. And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." But then now we have the For Rent expansion pack, and now it seems to make a lot more sense to build now an apartment building. And then you have the bistro kit. I love the bistro kit, and so just having those elements to come back, and also those new windows from Royalty and Legacy just really inspired me to come back and bring a bit of my European experience to Windenburg. But I've been playing for a very long time, and I still I really enjoy building in The Sims. I play here and there, but I definitely consider myself more of a builder. I usually play the game when I'm tired of building and just want to focus my brain on something, something, and I don't want to leave my apartment. And so it's because as they say, whenever you leave your apartment, you spend so much money just leaving your apartment in New York City. And so I like staying in. I like being with my dog, and I like there he goes. He's scratching right now. Maybe you can hear it. Maybe you can't. I do not know. But we'll just be on this journey again together. Um, but yeah, I love playing. All my friends know that I play. I played during college. One of my favorite things to do is to, put my friends in the game so they show up at, the clubs and show up at the cafe. And I have my sim self running around as well. I think it's just fun. I think it's fun. Um, and also just helpful to, I'll say inspiring in the making of characters and building of apartments. Actually, in the Parisian apartment that I built, which again is on the gallery, most of the apartments that I made in there are inspired by people that I know and apartments that I've been in France, and the friends that I have. There's one of the rooms in there is one of the units in there, I should say, is empty, and then there's one at the very top. It's supposed to be the chambre de bonne, but I but I made it more in the style of the version from Emily in Paris. It's very Americanized, um, for a character like Emily, which you will see. But the thing about it is, again, like I have this shared restroom on top because that was just for me and the homage to actually what it actually is like to, live in a chambre de bonne in Paris. Um, and yeah, what can I say? Again, this is my very first feed build, and as you can see, the build is starting to really come together at this point. And this is where I decided to turn this one. What are they called? Turrets? No, that's not Tourette. That's not Tourette's. Uh, somebody help me with the name, the official name of these, but this section is what I'll call it. This section of the build, it just looked too symmetrical. And then when I looked at photos of Sacre-Coeur, there's like this tower in the like it seems separate from the build, but it's just a big tower that was more square, and so I just put it here, and it took away that symmetrical feeling that I was starting to get, which sometimes annoys me about The Sims, and especially if it's just like white, like. But I'm glad we're starting to get more textures. I'm glad that we're starting to get like yeah, there's just so many more textures in the game than we had in the beginning. They're so beautiful, and so I'm very proud of the evolution of The Sims. Um, and what am I doing in this game right now? But yeah, you can see the shapes starting to come together. I had it was I mean, because I was turning this into a club, I think that was the reason why it was so quick to build. Because I didn't have to worry too much about the interior. A lot of the times, it's like the interior for me takes so long. I could spend an hour in a room alone. Um, I think overall I had 5 hours of footage on this. Um, and oh my gosh. See, okay, so here I am, like, you can see that I am I'm starting my first attempt at roofing, and it'd been so long since I think I had a roof similar to this on Notre Dame, but I didn't feel like clicking out of this game and going over and seeing what I did. And so you can see me here. I got very frustrated, and so I moved on to roofing other parts so I could at least do something productive. And then I think it took me like maybe 3 or 4 tries of going to the back of the roof to figure out how to actually do it. Um, but I did eventually get it. And when I finally got it, my game crashed. My game crashed, and I think it happens right around here. Like my game crashes, and then I had to, and I'm so glad that I have a reminder because I have a mod in my game and it tells me that I haven't saved my game in after an hour of playing. And so, yep. And oh no, I still have it. And it was like just after this where my game crashed. It was like right around here where my game crashed, and boom, it crashed, and I came back into the game, and we finished build. We had to again. This is me rebuilding everything and making sure that I could getting back to where we no. Anyways, it was actually right after this. I've said it many times, but this is my final answer. It was right after this where my game crashed. And then, so you'll see it jump, and there'll be windows because I forgot to screen record. But yeah, this is about where my game crashed. And yep, there it goes. And so, and then I came back in the game and I had to redo all the stuff that I did. And it was a journey. It was a journey, I knew what I was going to do already. So I just had to come in and do it. And it was a lot quicker because I already knew the answer. And that's just sometimes with The Sims, sometimes it's a puzzle, and it's a fun puzzle to put together. I've always enjoyed architecture. I actually was going to go to school for architecture and interior design, but then I got into acting, so I became an actor. And I'm also now a real estate agent. I love balancing acting and real estate, and what inspired me to get back into real estate was honestly The Sims, and kind of just taking it to the real world and seeing actual apartments and helping people get their homes ready to sell and the staging part of it. I I get a lot of my inspiration from The Sims and playing in The Sims and building in The Sims and designing in The Sims. So I actually something I do is I take let's say my apartment for example. I design I did the layout of my apartment and like the color scheme and everything in the game, and then in real life I came and was able to uh, put it all together, and I really enjoyed how my apartment came out. But I did design it first in The Sims. And as you can see here, I am starting to do a little landscaping. I feel like every build has to have some green on it. It just makes it look so much better. And I, I, yeah, every build, it doesn't matter how in the like urban or how much in the city it is or how surrounded by concrete, there there has to be some form of green in my opinion. I have yet to build anything without any landscaping, even though this is simple. This is simple landscaping, just a couple trees, and then I actually go in and put, I don't know if it's like grass or flowers with grass, but I add that later. Um, and yeah, here I am adding the flags just to give it a little, what do I want to say? Uh, like government building, like French, like just I wanted to give it, I wanted to uplift it with these flags to just show history, to show the age of the building, even though it has been converted into a club. And that's the fun part about The Sims. You can kind of do what you want. Um, but yeah, again, I am an actor. I've done shows on Broadway, and all the time I've always built in The Sims. I actually I just uh, if you want to find me, you can find me on Law and Order episode 19, which will be coming out very soon. I just shot in that episode. Uh, well, I I shot it. When did I shoot it? Maybe 2 weeks ago. Um, I won't tell you who I am. Maybe I will later, but I'm just telling you I'm in the episode. Um, as far as I know, I should be in the episode. I'm also on FBI. I've also been on Katie Keene, and yeah, um, yeah. I That's why it's also nice to do, I guess, to record myself and work on my voiceover work. I think that's what this will be practice for ultimately. But it is, again, nice to finally do a speed build in The Sims. One of the most important things about this build, as you'll see, I'll flip between night and day, but I wanted the lighting. Oh, and see, that's the build. That's the build. It looks so good. I was very happy with how it turned out. You can't imagine, like, sometimes, when you start a build and it's just kind of like, all right, what am I going to do with these white walls? This looks crazy. And then you just keep going and going, and then the freezes stay and you get the roofing right, and then like all the details on the outside, and it just comes together, and it's like sculpting, and like it's just there finally, and you're like, oh, I can go on inside and start to work on the inside. So I'll actually flip back and forth between outside and inside in this build because things got warped from the inside stuff, and as you can see, like it's all the roofing is always a thing, and adjusting the roofs with the half walls, or the I don't know what you call these things on top of. I don't know if they're called freezes as well, or what is a freeze? I don't know. But this thing I'm doing right now, like how it makes the roofing appear inside, and then you have to adjust the roofing. Sometimes it is annoying, but again, it becomes really. It puts a big smile on my face once I do solve the puzzle that is The Sims in building. And see right here, I had to cover the roofing with walls, so it didn't jut in. But I thought it was a nice addition to the build. And you just use it the best that you can. But here I am coming inside of the build and making columns and just making way for a dance floor. Um, where I mean, it is a nightclub, so again, like very, very easy to like. You just need a space for people to dance, and a bar, and a restroom. Pretty simple. So it kind of took care of itself, in my personal opinion. Um, I yeah, and here I am just adding all these columns and on top of the columns just to give it some texture and to give it um, yeah, just uplift the build. I I Oh, and I added a altar at the top, which you would see in a church, like an altar. And that's where the DJ booth will go a bit later. One thing about this build that was very difficult, you'll see me later, but the stairs, because I needed to go upstairs and I had a tough time putting the stairs in. Like, see, in here I go trying to figure out the stairs because I I could have probably placed them somewhere else, and this is after I built it. I could have, I think, placed them somewhere else, but in my original building, I just imagined that, okay, like what if these people just like basically like renovated the whole thing and took out the original stairs and added these ones instead, is kind of ultimately what I end up doing. But I think if I actually turn it into a church, again, let me know if you want me to. I'll actually end up moving the stairs somewhere else because this is pretty impractical. Like where I've put the stairs is kind of, it's very weird. It's very weird where I put the stairs, but it works in the vein that I have. It works in the vein of how I have made it. Because it's a nightclub, it kind of makes more sense. But I do believe now, post build, I have a better. I know, and we'll see if I'm actually correct. But I think I have a better place of where they could live. But I like the way that they look in this area, and so I went with that. And upstairs, I you'll see that this is the bar area. I've made it on in this loft where there would normally be an organ in this part. I've again turned into the bar, and I actually like what I did, especially with the color scheme. You'll see later. I wanted the lights in this build to be really cool. And so I kind of went ultimately with a blue in this section to kind of be like heaven, if you will. And then on the bottom level is very red. And so, to kind of represent sin and hell. I don't know. But if you're going to turn a church into a club, I don't know anybody else's religious beliefs. Like, I'm not bringing that into this at all. It's just a fun idea. But I just wanted to kind of, let the club have its theme of heaven and hell. I thought it was going to be fun to play with. But here I am doing a bit of the lighting, trying to get the nightclub lighting correct. And I had lots of, yeah, I ended up adding lots of things to this, most of which I show in the speed build. Some things I added a bit later while I was taking screenshots and I wasn't recording anymore. And that's okay because this is a learning experiment and I am learning how to do speed builds and how to talk to you guys um, without saying too much. So I wanted to have a little seating section. I was debating what kind of seating I wanted, like, kind of like lounges where you sit on the side and you kind of observe and people watch. So I ended up using the sectional from Dream Home Decorator, and I think it looks pretty good up here. I think it was nice to, it's just a nice. I wanted like smaller sections, but it ended up having to be just like one huge section, and then ultimately I end up putting some on the ground floor as well, just to fill up the space. And then you'll see me a bit later. I put some candles on there. Yeah, again, like the lighting in this build was really important for me because it is a nightclub, because I want your Sims to, yeah, come here and, you take your screenshots. And thank you Twisted Mexi. I definitely have the tool mod in my game and Better Build and Buy. And one cool thing about those is that you can adjust the lights in build mode. I remember like there was a time where you had to go into live mode and adjust each one and then switch back into build mode and then go to live mode to change the lights. You can do it all in build mode. Thank you to Twisted Mexi. I am very appreciative of you and your work. And here I am adding some more details to the altar. I end up using this, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's from it's from the Romantic Garden pack. Not too sure what it's actually called, but I'm just going to say the Romantic Garden pack. You know what I am talking about. And I add these janitor closets from the Love Struck expansion pack, just so if things get a little hot on the dance floor and you want to go and you know, woohoo. You have a place that you can go and do that in the club. It's always nice to, I think most people do this just to have some place where your Sims can go and be alone in in while they're in public. And here I am, as you can see, as you saw maybe on the inside. Sometimes when you're roofing, the 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 roof, like the edges of the roof, can clip into the build, and so I went in and changed them to a different ones that I know do not clip into the build. And here I am adding uh, adjusting the lights on the build so they have an effect on. I know like builds lights generally have an effect on the outside of the build from the inside to the outside. So I went in and here I am adjusting the lights. I yeah, I just think it's so cool. I just think I'm just very happy with the nightclub look of this build, especially since it is a basilica. But just happy with the way it looks at night. I'm happy the way the lighting turned out. I'm very proud of the lighting inside of this build. It looks so fun when the Sims are just dancing around. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. And then I forgot we had this. Um, is this from base game? I'm not too sure. Maybe it's from Get Together. I'm not too sure where it's from, but I decided to put it on to this the thing from uh, this basically altar, building this altar, and um, and as if it said the club's name on it or something. I just thought it was a really cool addition. And then I add versions of that that are blue to the to the bar area, the more heaven area. But yeah, this is yeah, you're starting to see the lighting come together. Um, yeah, it was cute play testing this. Like very easy to play test this build because it doesn't require much testing. Everything pretty much like the people can go upstairs, they can use the restroom, like we're good. um some like they're like the community center that I built, I'm still playtesting because there's just so many things. But that build is really fun. I will be uploading that soon, and still playtesting the other three builds, and it's going to take me a little while to get because it's so long. There's so much footage of me building those three buildings. So just trying to cut it down to make it as short as possible with all the detail in there for you guys. I know Jessica Pie uploads builds that can be like sometimes it's an hour, sometimes there's one that's like an hour 45, and so I'm just testing, and we'll see how long that one ends up being. But I do want to show y'all how I built that from the ground up, and it will be in two parts because that one it took me a long time to do the outside of that build because there's so much detail in that build. And then yeah, but thank you so much for joining me. This, as you can see, I am just putting the finishes touches on the inside, and that ends up being yeah. Oh, and here's the top. There's the top, and as you can see, I'm blue, and it's all blue, very heaven-like for the bar. Perfect place for the bar. But here I am. I go back to the outside, and add some finishing touches to the outside just to make sure it's perfect. Because sometimes, like when you change things on the inside, it changes things on the outside, or maybe there was something I missed from beforehand. Also, as I spun around, I noticed that the benches next to the church were a different color. So I adjusted the benches that I placed right next to the church to the color to the benches in the surrounding area. And yeah, I adjust the front. But ultimately, this is basically the build. Thank you so much for watching my very first speed build. Thank you for joining me. My name is D. My gallery ID is DFoshiz. That is DFoshiz. And I hope you download this build, and also again leave me a comment if I should change it into a actual church, if that's something that you guys would like. But again, thanks so much. This is a dream come true to do a speed build and to do a voiceover, and also pretty. I see what they say when they say it's hard. Like, thinking of things to say and just continuing to talk is very intimidating, and I've done it for, wow, 40 minutes. But here are the screenshots, and yeah, thanks for joining.